Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. So it has been a crazy week, definitely craziest week I can remember for a while. So I wanted to hop on here and talk about all of the COVID-19 stuff that's been going on, a little bit about my personal experience, what I've been feeling, thinking, how I've been processing with it, and how it's affecting, of course, it is affecting everyone, everywhere. The current situation is extremely unfortunate. There's a lot of uncertainty. It's causing a lot of fear. It's causing a lot of panic. My thoughts and prayers go out to all of the families, the people, the businesses, anyone that has been, well, everybody's been affected, but anybody who's suffering as a result of this. But I just wanted to come on and share a little bit about my experience and also what this looks like for me personally and the future of the events industry. So a week ago, this time, I was probably just now landing in Orlando for a live event. And at the time of going, I had to make the decision, did I want to go, did I not? And at that point, things were not being shut down. Things have drastically snowballed since I made that decision. In the time that I was there, the first night, within a 3-hour period, schools got canceled, national sporting leagues have been postponed or canceled. All of my clients, every single client, I had 5 events scheduled between now and the end of May. Every single one of them had reached out wanting to know what to do, how to move forward. Do we postpone? Do we cancel? What do we do? So in that moment, I personally shifted into a place of panic, which I'm sure many of you can relate to. That was it, and when I was in that place of panic, all I could do was focus on the negative. Well, what if this and what if that, and this is going to affect my business and nobody's going to be planning events and how am I going to make money, and all of the what ifs that negative voice in your head puts in when you are in that unresourceful, panic, fear-based state. So with that being said, it's taken me about a week to get to where I am now. And in that week, there's been a lot of processing. There's been a lot of crying. There's been a lot of frustration. There's been a lot of optimism. And this week has been a roller coaster. Let's just say like that. I mean, life as an entrepreneur is a roller coaster, but you throw this in there, and this week has been a crazy, crazy roller coaster. Now that I've had some time and allowed myself to, hey, Michael, it's good to see you. Now that I have allowed myself some time to process, some time to actually feel what I was feeling, acknowledge those feelings, and then take a step back and say, okay, what of those feelings is true and what is not true? What is just that I'm making this up? It's allowed me the time to kind of recompress or decompress and position myself and come up to the point where I'm ready to talk to you guys today, share a little bit about my experience and how I am addressing this whole situation. So there has been no shortage of people online sharing, inspiration and positivity and uplifting messages. And it's so great. I did a Facebook clean maybe about 1.5 years ago, and I can only imagine what my feed would look like 1.5 years ago versus now. Right now, my feed is filled with positivity and support and uplifting people. And it is so wonderful to see how something so devastating is bringing everybody together. Point being, my plan, the position that I've taken, you've heard probably from a lot of people, is you can choose panic or you can choose to pivot. Now that I have worked through the panic, I am choosing to pivot, but I'm adding to that to plan, which I'm a planner, so if that seems intuitive, but I didn't realize that part of my panic was that I didn't have a plan. I felt out of control. I felt like I had no security because I didn't have a plan. And then looking forward of however long this may last, what options are available to me? What can I do to pivot and plan? So on this call, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about, the situation of events that are currently contracted, a little bit about my experience with my clients who are under contract, the future, the short-term, interim, whatever future of virtual events, and the future of live events. So at any point throughout this, if you guys have questions about your specific events, an event you want to host, an experience, whatever, if there's anything that I'm bringing up, throw it in the comments. I'll come back and I'll do my best to address those as we go on. So starting with events that are currently scheduled. My first, a lot of them have been postponed, understandably so. And there's still a lot that are uncertain, and we don't know. We don't know how long this is going to last. So my first advice, first and foremost, is communicate with your attendees, communicate with your community. Even if you have not yet made a decision whether you are going to keep the event as planned, cancel the event, postpone the event, maintain that open line of communication. For the past couple of weeks, I've been working with my clients on coming up with communication plans, providing them with language that they can use regardless of which choice they make. But I know that obviously for everyone out there, for planners specifically, attendees, safety is first and foremost our number one priority. So making sure that we're communicating that to them, letting them know that yes, we are aware, we are feeling a lot of the things that you're feeling as well, and we are keeping up to date on this. Rest assured, as we make decisions, you will be the first to know, and just keeping in constant communication with them is going to be really important and help to just maintain that trust that they've already developed with you. My next thing is that, I have clients who I guess I would say, do not cancel, postpone. I have been very fortunate with my clients that every single contract I have been able to move my clients' events to a future date with zero financial implications. Now, part of that might come into the fact that on the front end, you guys may have seen my Facebook Lives before. I am a bulldog negotiator. Like, I will fight for my clients and to protect my clients, and contracts, I'm not going to go into it here, but contracts are written to protect the person who writes them. So maybe that's something that has served me in taking all that extra time on the front end, but I've been very successful in being able to move every single last event to a new date that is not causing any financial damages to my clients. So if you are in the position right now where you are looking at potentially moving a date, moving a contract, shifting, pivoting, send me the contract. I am more than happy to look at it and provide you guys with some feedback. We're all in this together. We are all experiencing uncertainty. We are all, the economy is going to be being impacted by this. So if I'm happy to take some time and look at your contract and let you know where there might be some legal language that can help you get out of or push those dates. So with that being said, I am optimistic that come this summer, we will be on the other side of this thing. But again, it all comes down to your communication with your attendees, the communication with your venues, and the contracting terms and language that you've had in place. And really just hones in the importance of that force majeure and impossibility clause, because while it is all boilerplate language, you can, if you ask for them to add different language in 9 out of 10 times, they will do it. And I've been extremely successful in seeing that. So this kind of pushes us into virtual events. Obviously, we are in this place of virtual events now. Virtual events is the foreseeable future. And it is so important. That's why I'm saying, don't cancel your event, postpone your event. Don't cancel your event and say, well, we're just going to do it virtually. I'm saying postpone till a later date. And on the date that you were initially supposed to have that event, go virtual. Have a virtual event. This is going to speak into your audience because they need you. Hey, Jill. Hey, they need you more now than ever. It's not just about your relationship with them, but it's also their relationship within your community. So we all are a part of these communities, and we all look up to these leaders and visionaries and people that inspire us. But what I personally have found is that within these groups, there are so many other like-minded people like me that I find strength from. They inspire me. It's not just about, hey, Carls, it's not just about the people who own the group. So do this as part of your Facebook group, part of your virtual community. And it's going to do a couple of things. It's going to, continue to keep you front of mind. It's going to help keep that momentum building. People are looking forward to an event, and then, oh man, now I don't get to go to that event. Well, give them something to continue looking forward to. There's so many things that we all can be doing right now to just uplift each other and keep that community together. And, from the planner side of things, it's keeping keeping the event top of mind, keeping that momentum going, it's going to eliminate the amount of refunds that you're giving because people have that momentum. They want to come to your virtual event. They are optimistic that there's going to be a future event and they're going to stay in that, following that path. Sorry, I got all the college roommates in here messaging and I'm distracted and excited to see everybody here. And okay, I'm gonna get back to where I was. Thanks, girls, for your support. Miss you guys. Okay. So, also something else, in addition to limiting the refunds, it also creates you an opportunity to get more sponsors. Digital sponsorships are great. It gives you so much more reach, so much more expansion, and then your message, your community is being shared within their communities, and it creates that ripple effect, and that's awesome. So I definitely encourage you not to postpone or not to cancel. Postpone if you have to, but keep those dates. Keep in touch with your community and use that to build that community, because we are going to come out the other side of this. And I'm going to get to this in a minute, and people are going to crave that interpersonal connection. And imagine how much stronger those connections are going to be after they've even strengthened a virtual community, a virtual relationship, and then they get to meet in person. Plus, doing a digital virtual summit, you now have all this digital content that you can then repurpose. So it crosses so many, it checks off so many of the boxes. That being said, for a lot of people, virtual events, digital events might not be something that you have done in the past. And while yes, there are less logistics that go into a virtual or digital event than an actual live in-person event, there's still a lot of elements and a lot of planning that goes into that. It does not have to be difficult. In fact, it can be easy as long as you have a plan to execute. So, there's a lot of technologies out there right now that are offering discounts, that are offering their higher tiered packages at lower prices, free technology temporarily. So I encourage you to look at those and take advantage of those. I'm actually in the process of putting together a guide that's going to walk you through the step-by-steps of how to plan a virtual event, how to market a virtual event, how to host a virtual event, some of my favorite technologies. And so, if that's something you're interested in, I will post it once I have it. Shoot me a DM, add a message below, and I'll be happy to send it to you. And I want to take a second and show you a little bit of my pivot and my reframing here, because for me, live events, being on site at the live event, creating what that room looks like, what the attendees are going to feel when they walk in, like creating that space and being in that environment, that is what lights me up. That is one of the reasons that I love what I do. Obviously, I'm not in a place where I can do that right now. So I have to find a way that I can shift, that I can pivot. So now I am I'm becoming a virtual event strategist. I am offering, to fellow planners and to my clients and other organizations and entrepreneurs that want to get their message out there, I am offering to help show you the way to do that. And, it's tough to, when you are so focused on what it is you're doing and what you love to do, and you have found a way to make that your career and make money doing it, there's nothing better than that. But I had to take a step back and remember, aside from just being on site, aside from creating that space, why did I make the decision to leave the corporate world and start this specific business? Why did I start Be Bright Events? And at the end of the day, it was because there are so many leaders and thought-driven, heart-centered entrepreneurs out there who have a message to share that is inspiring and enriching lives. So when I take a second back and I look at that and remember that that is my why, being on site, creating that space is a bonus. I can still fulfill my purpose of helping entrepreneurs spread that message, and really on a much greater scale from a digital stage or, from a virtual summit or webinar space. So I took that step, and I have been, just immersing myself in everything virtual summits, digital events, and so that I can better support my clients and you in that way. And something else that I had to find that I had to also fill a void of how I'm going to still be creative, because obviously creating those live spaces is one of those things that I love to do. So I thought about it, and something that I think is going to be really important that people might not be thinking about is all of the speakers that are used to speaking on stage and delivering their message. They are on stage, they are telling a story, they are up there building rapport with their audience, and they're going to have to shift and pivot a little bit as they do that in a virtual environment. And that's where, you know, slides really can help to create a compelling visual that ties into their message. Because honestly, like, you guys are sitting here staring at me, and how much better would it be if maybe I had a couple little bullet points or a couple of things throughout here, visuals that are tying into what I'm saying that might keep you engaged. So that's something else that I love to do. I do that for my clients, but that's something now that I'm going to put myself out there and make it known to speakers and people hosting webinars that, did you previously not have slides? Do you need to have them created? I'd love to do that for you. Or why don't we take a minute and, you know, you have a little bit extra time right now as you're rebooking and stages and all of this. Let's take a look at your slides and let's give them a facelift. So I think that in this time, it's really important to recognize what are the things that make you happy. Acknowledge that what makes you happy might not be, you know, the top things that fill you up and make you happy might not be possible at this moment. So come up with some other alternatives of how you can shift and pivot, leverage your skills, leverage the things that make you happy, and use that to support others. So I think that's, you know, I just wanted to kind of tie into why I'm saying postpone events and do this. And, you know, I don't want to come across and say everything's fine, everything's, you know, wonderful, because I too am feeling it. Like I am bummed. I am not at live events. That is where I love to be. I'm not there, and that's upsetting to me. So I had to really dig deep and figure out what are some other ways that I can do things that light me up while we are in this space. So with all of that being said, so we talked about, you know, having your events. I'm happy to look at contracts and help you navigate the way through those. Talked about making sure do not cancel, postpone, and let's create something virtual or a digital summit together to maintain that momentum. But now let's talk about opportunity, right? There is so much opportunity in this. It's just a matter of taking that step back, processing through your stuff, and moving forward. So what I have found in the last 2 weeks, it has been crazy. Right now, live events, temporarily they're off the table, as long as it, you know, 10 or more people off the table. And me, I mean, even me, like, I'm social distancing. I was at an event last week. I'm home quarantining, like, just out of respect for all of those that don't have an immune system like mine, but I'm not going to get into that. I digress. So what I'm saying is live events are not going away. Temporarily, yes, we're not able to have them, but they are not going away. So with that being said, it creates a huge opportunity for us, because while for some you can look at this and say, well, the future seems so, you know, the future of this industry seems so uncertain and everybody's losing tons of money and whatever, like, that might be a short-term situation, but that it's temporary. It is temporary. And all of that uncertainty, what that's doing is it's actually creating a lot of opportunity, because I think I mentioned this earlier, as we are doing these virtual events and we're doing these online summits and Facebook groups and, you know, all of the just community that we are building in this virtual space, people are going to crave human interaction. People are going to crave it. At the event that I was at last week, my friend was like, he usually doesn't like having people hug him. You know, at these events, people are always so excited and it's such a happy, wonderful place to be. And people are giving hugs, and, you know, this was a no hug zone. We all were walking around, you know, like this or like this, and, you know, no hugs, no high fives. And at the end, he was like, I actually found myself really missing giving people hugs. So that's somebody who doesn't even typically like that. So imagine all the people who crave that. We are going to be in a space where live events, like the fall, I have no doubt that by come fall, it's going to be ridiculous. And so while it might seem difficult for the industry now, it's going to come back with a vengeance. Like, it's, and what I've seen just in these last 2 weeks is this is where the planning and taking action is really going to come into play. And it's all about how you show up in the face of that, right? So in the past week, I've had clients who made the decision a couple of weeks ago that they wanted to postpone. We called, worked through it, postponed their event. They said, this is the date I want my event. And it's done. It's fine. We got communication out. We know when their next event is. Their community is happy. We're working on putting together some virtual events. And it is just business as usual, because that's what entrepreneurs do. We have a problem, we face it, we pivot, and we keep going. We just keep going. Then I have some other clients who, want to remain, who, I don't want to say took a risk. There were some other clients who 2 weeks ago, this was definite. 2 weeks ago, I did not think I would be sitting here talking about this on Facebook Live. So, there's others that are like, well, we don't want to jump to make any decisions, and that's fine. And I can completely get on board with that as well, because let's maintain that optimism that no, I'm not going to have to cancel. But what I will say is that this week, finding new dates is becoming increasingly more difficult, because if you think about just the month of March alone, think of the events that have been canceled or the events that have been postponed March and April. Well, now you have all of the events that are already on the calendar for the spring, or for the rest of the spring and summer, but now you have 2 more months worth of events trying to put, to fill those dates. So it's actually, the availability is actually much smaller than it otherwise would be. So this is where I just kind of want to, encourage you, if you want to plan an event, if you have been considering planning an event, if it's been one of those things that it's like, well, I think I'm going to do it this year, but I'm not ready, or I'm just going to wait, I'm going to see how this whole thing turns out. What I'm going to say is that opportunity will pass. When you make the decision 4, 5, 6 weeks from now, you very well could be looking at dates in 2021, even though in your head, you're like, yeah, I'm going to have this awesome event in October. You might not. Like, that is the reality of what's going on in the industry right now. So yes, there's uncertainty. Yes, that's unavoidable. Yes, Daniel, exactly. Constant forward motion. That's where we have to be. So, and I'm going to get all woo with you for a minute, but what I have learned in my own experience is that once you make a decision, the universe is going to align to support you in that decision. You might not know the how, you might not know all the steps that go into it. And believe me, I can relate. That is tough. I am a planner. I want to know steps. I want to have a checklist. I want to know what I have to do. I thought about starting my own business for a long, long time. And it was an energy leak. I always thought about it, but I don't know this, and what if that, and what if that. And the minute that I made that decision and I publicly said, this is what I'm going to do, the universe did start to align to help those, to start showing me the how, to figure out how those things are going to plan out. And they did. They started to pan out. Still, right now, I don't know what the future looks like, but I made the decision that this is how I'm going to show up for you guys. These are the steps that I'm going to take. This is the way that I'm going to support my clients. And the universe is going to provide me what I need to do to figure all of that out. So if that's a little too woo-woo for all of you, that's fine. But my message, it remains the same. Make a decision and take action and start planning. And here's why. First of all, opportunity passes. And I don't think I have to tell anybody that. I think given what's happened in the last couple of weeks, we have all experienced that firsthand. But aside the fact from availability and that dates are filling up fast and there may not be the dates that work for you, also keep in mind that right now in the event space, hotels, caterers, audiovisual, photographers, videographers, DJs, all of the individual components that go into a live event, planners, we are taking a hit temporarily. Yes, we're pivoting, and yes, we're going to figure out something creative to do because that's what we do. But point being, right now, we are all open to creative opportunities and creative ideas. I have a photographer who I know who is offering half off any future events of her services throughout the rest of the year for people that book within the next 6 weeks, because that gives us a little bit more certainty, a little bit more security. So those are things, right now, this is one of those things where you have an opportunity to use this to your advantage. Contractually speaking, while the hotel dates or venues are filling up, the clauses, like they're so much more willing to work with you to put language in those clauses that will allow you to postpone, that will allow you to reduce your room block by X%. Like I've had that written into all of my future contracts. If I don't have the legal language in front of me, but essentially saying if something prevents my attendees from traveling and 30% or more of my attendees aren't going to be able to travel, my clients will not be held responsible for that attrition. So all of that just to say that like right now, this is an opportunity, and the people who choose to take action, as Angela just said, decision plus alignment equals flow. So if you decide to do that now, you are going to potentially be able to, I don't even want to say potentially, you have so much opportunity to actually drastically reduce your overhead in hosting an event. Not to mention, you are creating that sense of positivity and optimism and, what everybody needs right now in this world. So you have a message, you have a mission. If you've been considering it, now is the time. And the best part about all of that is not only can you get under contract, sign it, get it in the books, but you can also start planning now, which gives you, more time to plan, really become aligned. And because of the landscape of the virtual digital conferences right now, you can do a soft launch conference. You can allow anybody who signs up for your conference to join the virtual one. Offer that as a free option or a free opportunity for them. And that gives you a chance to really hone in your messaging, have a practice run so that your live event, it is like you are dialed in and ready to go. So, while this is an opportunity for everybody, I'm not saying to, I'm not saying, I guess what I am saying is that right now you are perfectly positioned to take advantage of this situation. You're not exploiting the situation. You're seeing an opportunity and you're grabbing it because, as I think I've said multiple times on this call, opportunity passes. And so, the longer that this goes on, it's going to be a matter of supply and demand. People are going to be in high demand. You're going to have the caterers and the food, all of the different vendors. Our books are going to be slammed in the spring and fall because all the events that we were supposed to be having right now in the, late winter, early spring, they're all doubling up now. So, right now you have the opportunity to really use this to your advantage. Things like this don't come around often. Fortunately, I'm glad that they don't. And it's unfortunate that we're in the space that we're in right now, but it does really create that unique opportunity for those who are ready to take advantage of it. I mean, think about all of the people right now, I'm sure many of you can relate, who see what's happening to the stock market. And of course, there's some people that are panicking, but then there's others that see that as an opportunity, and they are buying stocks because stock is so low right now. It's a very similar situation. So I guess in all of this, I've already gone on a lot longer than I had expected to do here. So just to wrap it all up, first of all, I want to just thank everybody out there who are providing services and coaching and all of the positivity that I am seeing. I love what, in times that we're in, I love seeing how humanity comes together and that, good is coming out of this. It's bringing everybody together. And it warms my heart to see that. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. And I guess really in all of this, the bottom line is that this too shall pass. We are resilient. We always bounce back from this. I mean, thinking about things that have happened in the past, you can look at these things and you can see that in the moment, there might not have been that this is going to be okay. It's going to be okay. But we recover. We just do. It's what we do. We are resilient. And so, when we're in this time of uncertainty, and while you might be feeling all different things, I encourage you to step into those feelings. I encourage you to feel those things. There's a lot of stuff out there that's like, choose positivity, focus on positive. And I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Me, I've done a lot of, personal growth over the last couple of years. And at first I started kind of like beating up on myself for, why do I feel this way? I know that I shouldn't feel this way. I know that this isn't true. I should be this. I should be this. And I was shooting all over myself until I finally took the time and I was like, you know what? I want to go sit and I'm going to cry this out. I am going to ugly cry it out. I'm going to get all of this out. And that's what I did. And I'd be lying if I told you I didn't do it 2 days later. But the point is, feel your feels. You are entitled. They are your feelings, but don't live in them. Feel them, process, see where they're coming from, see what of those feelings are valid truths versus what, just because you're in this negative place, where what kind of negative feelings and beliefs is that creating that aren't really actually true? Like the truth that my business is going to be on hold for 3 months, that's not true. That is not true at all. But in the moment, that's what I was feeling. So I had to process through those. So once you do all that, find a way to pivot and plan. For me, like I said, the planning was the important part. I knew that I could pivot. I couldn't pivot until I came up with a plan. And it's that plan that gave me that security and stability that I need to be able to go forward and serve in the way that, and show up the way that I want to show up. So, you know, there is no shortage of mindset coaching online right now, motivation, innovation. Follow it. Find the person that resonates with you, connect with them. People are offering 30-minute calls all over the place. Take them up on those calls. It does not mean you have to hire them. Take them up on the calls. Like sometimes all it takes is somebody who doesn't know you that can help you process through a lot of your stuff. So I'm just saying that because I'm a huge proponent of, you know, of personal growth, of mindset coaching. And I encourage all of you to step into that during these times, especially if you're finding it difficult to kind of shift and pivot. So, so that's kind of my hope and my wish for all of you. Again, if you are in the space where you are hosting an event, would like me to look through your contract, happy to do that. Not going to charge you for it. I want to help you. I want to help you serve your audience. Happy to look through that. If you're thinking about a virtual event, if you have an event, you want to add a virtual event, let's hop on a call. Would love to work through that with you as well. At the end of the day, all we want to do is serve and show up and impact lives. So we are all in that together. We're all in that same mission, that same purpose. So let's use this as an opportunity to do that together. And I get, you know, yes, we're in this place of disruption and uncertainty and everything is evolving. But what I keep saying to myself and what my son keeps saying to me, you know, the famous words of Dory the fish, just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. So thanks guys for joining and sticking on as long as you did. I, you know, again, would love to talk about anything and everything, events, life, whatever's going on right now. Human virtual interaction is super, super important. So thank you for tuning in and I look forward to connecting with you guys again soon. Have a great day.